Everyone put your hands together for Ed McNulty.
I love films that challenge the mind and explore important issues of society. From the thousands of films that I've reviewed, I've compiled a list of over 700 dealing with social justice issues. Here are 6 that should be on your bucket list.
Closer to the mic.
Salt of the Earth is the only film to be banned nationwide. Its director, Herbert Bieber, was one of the Hollywood 10 accused of being communist. It's about a miners' union strike. A court forbids the men to picket the unsafe mine. This means scabs can get through the line and break the strike. The miners' wives volunteer to walk the picket lines, but one man objects. The women aren't strong enough, and who'll cook and take care of the kids? The men don't like the women's answer. But the next day, the women, carrying signs, march around the mine gate. This delightful 1954 film celebrates the dignity and power of women, as well as of the union, to stand up to oppression. We see how Esperanza, an underappreciated wife, learned to do this and help her patriarchal husband grow up. Sin Nombre involves Syra, a Honduran teenager, riding on top of a freight train with her father and uncle. Hoping to escape their homeland's violence, they plan to join relatives in New Jersey. After the train enters Mexico, a gang of young toughs clambers aboard to rob the refugees. One of the robbers is the troubled Casper, who's upset because Lil Majo, his leader, has killed his, that is Casper's, girlfriend. When the leader also tries to rape Syra, Casper intervenes and shoves Lil Majo off the train. Although her father and uncle still are suspicious of him, a friendship develops between the two young people as the train continues north. This blossoms into a romance when the two become separated from her relatives. But can it last, with Casper's former friends urging other gangs all along the way to spot and kill him? The Long Walk Home focuses on the foot soldiers rather than the generals in the Montgomery bus boycott during the late 50s. Whoopi Goldberg is Odessa, who walks miles back and forth to the home where Sissy Spacek's Miriam employs her as a maid. In church scenes, we hear but never see Martin Luther King Jr. inspiring the walkers. Slowly, the naive Miriam becomes aware of her maid's hardship and cruelty of the racist system that her husband accepts without any question. Meanwhile, Odessa and the 2 other house servants have to listen in silence to the racist comments of the husband. Miriam begins to give Odessa rides, and there is all hell to pay when her angry husband is told about this and orders her to stop. The film shows the cost to America's blacks, and even to a few whites, for standing up to, or should I say, walking against injustice. Philadelphia is a story about a young lawyer fired by his bosses when they discover he has AIDS, at that time the scourge of the gay community. I intended to use Brokeback Mountain for this list, but I decided to include the Tom Hanks film because it shows that minds can be changed by a well-made film. While speaking about films at a college, a young Christian student came up to thank me and said this film showed her that her church was wrong about homosexuals. Tom Hanks, as Andrew Beckett, opened her eyes to the humanity of gays, that they were not the demons her church had claimed. She also saw the irony in Denzel Washington's homophobias. Joe Miller, who at first refused to accept Andrew's lawsuit against his bosses. At a time when most people were still prejudiced against gays, this film dared to affirm fellow human beings who deserve to be treated with dignity. The Saint of Fort Washington stars Danny Glover as Jerry and Matt Dillon as Matthew, 2 homeless men trying to survive on the mean streets of Manhattan. They meet after the mentally disturbed Matthew is turned out of his public housing apartment because the old building is to be demolished. Jerry, suffering from Vietnam War wounds, becomes a mentor to the naive Matthew. He shows him how to survive by washing windshields, finding shelter on subway trains, nursing a cup of coffee for as long as his restaurant will allow, and dealing with unfriendly cops. The film's title refers to the healing power that Matthew has to heal Jerry's knee and the arthritic hand of a shoe shiner. It also refers to a homeless shelter in Manhattan. But unfortunately, there is a bully there that will complicate matters greatly for the two. It was hard to select a children's film, so I chose one not as well known as Disney-made ones. The Iron Giant, set in Maine during the Cold War when fear of communism and the bomb set people at each other's throat, is a story of a strange friendship between a boy and an alien robot. Young Hogarth, one night, sees what looks like a giant meteor falling into the woods. Venturing forth, he discovers a huge robot. Knowing how fearful adults are, he keeps his discovery secret, though because the Iron Giant must eat lots of metal, he does ask Dean if his friend can hide in his junkyard. The villain, federal agent Kent Massley, is looking for the alien also, and comes close to setting off a nuclear explosion when he orders government forces to attack the Iron Giant. Only the boy's pleading with his friend not to fight back with his weapons avoids a catastrophe. This is a great film for all about fear, violence, and what it is to be human. All of these films expand our horizon, calling us to enlarge our hearts and make room for those whom the powerful would exploit. These films make us aware that as humans, we're all bound together. And if you'd like to see the list of 700, I have some sheets I'll be glad to give you to show you these together.